The sun had barely risen over the towering city skyline when the sprawling glass mansion on Sycamore Hill buzzed with its usual controlled chaos. Inside, the billionaire industrialist Raymond Vale, known to the world for revolutionizing clean energy tech, was pacing his marble-floored kitchen in a tailored Armani suit, staring at his smartwatch, scowling. It was 6:45 a.m. His new high-end nanny, hired through the most expensive agency in the city, was already 15 minutes late. That was not acceptable, not in Raymond Vale's world. He adjusted his cuffs with mechanical precision, sipping black coffee brewed by his state-of-the-art machine. His daughter, 3-year-old Ellie, was upstairs in her nursery, still asleep, and the live-in maid Maria was quietly folding laundry in the next room. She watched him with weary eyes but said nothing. She'd been working in the house for 2 years now, quiet, reliable, nearly invisible. Maria had learned long ago that silence kept her employed. Billionaires didn't like noise. They liked results. Still no nanny? Raymond snapped, directing the question at no one in particular. Maria lowered her head slightly. No, sir. The agency hasn't called. He cursed under his breath, stabbing at his phone. I don't have time for this. I have a board meeting at 8. I'm presenting the new Clean Water Initiative to international investors. And now there's no one to watch my daughter? Maria hesitated, then gently offered, I can watch her for now, sir, if you'd like. Raymond turned sharply. You? She met his gaze without flinching. I've taken care of children before, sir. In my country. I can, just until the nanny arrives. He narrowed his eyes. Maria had always been a background figure, soft-spoken, tidy, always in the shadows. He had no reason to distrust her, but no reason to trust her either. Still, the clock was ticking. Fine. But don't let her out of your sight. And don't spoil her. Maria gave a small nod, and Raymond left in a storm of polished leather shoes and rattling car keys. The mansion fell quiet. Then, a faint cry echoed from upstairs. Maria gently made her way to Ellie's room and opened the pastel door. Inside, the little girl sat up in her bed, her soft brown curls tangled around her face, rubbing her sleepy eyes. Good morning, Miss Ellie, Maria whispered with a smile. The child blinked. Where's the new nanny? She's not here yet. But I'm here. I'll take care of you today. Ellie studied her for a long moment. Okay, she said simply, lifting her arms. Maria picked her up with practiced ease, her heart swelling slightly. It had been years since she held a child in her arms like this. Years since she had whispered lullabies or soothed little fears. The day unfolded gently. Maria, without instructions, did what came naturally. She made Ellie oatmeal with strawberries, cutting them into tiny stars. She sat with her in the garden, teaching her to count butterflies in Spanish. She hummed while braid. Her hair, told her fairy tales during nap time, and gently wiped her tears when she scraped her knee running too fast. By the time the sun dipped low in the sky, Raymond returned. He was on the phone, barking orders as he walked through the house. But something made him pause outside the sunroom. There, in the golden light, Maria sat on the floor surrounded by books and crayons. Ellie was giggling as Maria helped her draw a picture of a poppy. She had written it in big, wobbly letters. Raymond stared through the glass door. Ellie hadn't laughed like that in weeks. He cleared his throat and entered. Ellie turned. Poppy, look. She ran to him, holding up the drawing. Miss Maria helped me draw you. Raymond glanced at the paper, surprised to find himself smiling. Very nice, Ellie. Maria stood up. She's had lunch, snack, and her nap. No TV. Just play and learning. He nodded stiffly. Thank you. I appreciate you stepping in. But that night, After Ellie had gone to bed, Raymond found himself reviewing the security footage of the day. His house had cameras in every corner. He watched, not out of suspicion, but curiosity. He saw Maria kneel beside Ellie and kiss her scraped knee. He saw her gently carry her inside during nap time. He saw her rock her in a chair and sing a lullaby in Spanish. And for the first time in a very long while, Raymond Vale felt something. Something that was not a business deal or a negotiation. It was warmth. Familiar. Distant. Like a door in his heart cracking open. The next day, the nanny finally arrived. Tall, polished, with a fake smile and a long resume. But Ellie clung to Maria's leg and cried. "I want Miss Maria." Raymond paused. Then, surprising even himself, he sent the nanny away. From that moment on, Maria was not just the maid. She was Ellie's world. Days turned into weeks. Maria became the constant in Ellie's life, her teacher, her guide, her friend. And slowly, Raymond began to change too. He started coming home earlier. He started having dinner at the same table. He started asking Maria questions, not about cleaning, but about Ellie. Then one evening, he noticed something on the fridge. A child's drawing. It was a picture of a house, a son, a little girl, a man, and a woman. Above it, in messy letters, "Mi Familia." Raymond stared at the picture for a long time. Later that night, as he sat by the fire with a glass of wine, he looked at Maria folding towels quietly. "Maria," he said, voice softer than usual, "can I ask you something?" She looked up. "Yes, sir." "Why are you still a maid?" She hesitated. "Because it's honest work. Anne. I had to leave my country. I lost my son to illness. My husband left after that. I needed something to hold on to." Raymond was silent. Then, after a long pause, he said, "You've given my daughter more than anyone ever has. I want to do something for you." She shook her head, eyes wide. "No. Please. You've given me a place. A home." But in his heart, Summit. Maria hadn't realized how much the mansion had changed until one late autumn morning, when she opened the curtains to find Ellie's favorite dolls already sitting in the breakfast nook, placed there by Raymond himself. Once a ghost in his daughter's life, the billionaire had begun transforming slowly, quietly, and it had all started with that missed nanny appointment. Now, every day was different. He asked questions. He listened. He made time. And he noticed things he never used to, like the way Ellie liked her pancakes shaped like hearts, or how Maria always hummed the same lullaby when folding clothes, or that Ellie only slept soundly when Maria tucked her in. What began as convenience had become reliance, and what began as reliance had now bloomed into something deeper, though neither Maria nor Raymond dared to name it. She still called him Sir, and he still called her Maria, but their eyes had started saying something else. One evening, as Ellie lay sleeping with one arm around Maria's old teddy bear, the one she'd given the child as a quiet gesture of comfort, Raymond stood in the hallway outside, watching the two of them from the shadows. He hadn't said a word yet, but his heart had. It was saying things he didn't understand. Things he hadn't felt since his wife died. Raymond Vale had buried his emotions under business deals, awards, mergers, and high-rise glass walls, but Maria, the quiet, strong woman who had once just swept his floors, had cracked through it all with nothing more than tenderness and truth. The boardroom titan, the Forbes cover man, the cold strategist, was melting. One night, he invited her to sit down for dinner, not as the help, but as herself. She resisted, at first. "Sir, I'm still wearing my uniform," she'd said quietly. "So change," he replied gently. "You deserve to eat like you live here." It was the first time she'd ever sat at the grand mahogany dining table as an equal. She was nervous. She fidgeted with her fork. But Ellie clapped with delight, saying, "It's like family dinner." And Raymond smiled in a way he hadn't in years. Maria wore a simple lavender dress, nothing expensive, but to him she radiated something no billionaire could buy: humility, strength, grace. Over the next few weeks, the boundaries blurred. Maria was no longer just in the background. She helped choose Ellie's school. She sat with Raymond as he reviewed late-night reports, offering thoughts in her soft voice that made more sense than some of his own VPs. She even helped him reconnect with his estranged sister, reminding him that money couldn't mend everything, but love could. The household blossomed. Ellie thrived. And the city tabloids began to whisper, "Who is the mystery woman living with Raymond Vale?" But Maria ignored the noise. She had a job to do, and a heart to protect. She reminded herself often that this was temporary. She was the help. This wasn't her world. Or so she believed, until one snowy night changed everything. Raymond had a job to do, and a heart to protect. She reminded herself often that this was temporary. She was the help. This wasn't her world. Or so she believed, until one snowy night changed everything. Raymond had a gala to attend, one of those opulent black-tie affairs filled with crystal chandeliers and clinking champagne glasses. As usual, Maria stayed home, preparing Ellie's bedtime. But just as she was cleaning up the dishes, the doorbell rang. It was Raymond, soaking wet, his tie undone, his hair dripping. "The gala?" she asked, stunned. "I left," he said simply. "Why?" she whispered. He stepped closer, eyes burning with something unsaid. "Because I realized I didn't want to be in a room full of people who don't know me. I wanted to be here, with the only two people who do." Maria froze. Her hands trembled. "Sir, this. I can't," but Raymond stepped forward again. "Maria, you've been the heart of this house. You didn't just take care of my daughter, you healed something broken in both of us." She shook her head. "I was just doing my job." "No," he said firmly. "You were doing something no money can buy. You gave us love. Family. You showed me what it means to be alive again." Her eyes filled. "But I'm just a maid. A mother who lost everything. And I'm a billionaire who had everything, except what truly mattered." The room fell silent. Then Ellie's voice rang out from the hallway, sleepy and small, "Is Miss Maria gonna be my mommy now?" The world stopped. Maria's breath caught. Raymond looked at her, really looked at her, and in that moment, the past, the roles, the barriers, they all vanished. "That's up to her," he said softly. Maria stared at them both, this little girl who had brought her back to life, and this man who had quietly waited for her heart. She dropped her cleaning rag. She walked forward. And she whispered, "Yes." The next months were a blur of warmth and wonder. The staff adjusted. The world gossiped. But inside the Vale estate, something sacred bloomed. Maria was no longer in uniform. She was in love. And she was loved. Not because of a resume. Not because of status. But because when no one else showed up, she did. She was there. Consistent. Kind. Strong. And that was worth everything. They married quietly, in the backyard, beneath the same tree where Maria used to count butterflies with Ellie. The billionaire who had once ruled boardrooms now held his daughter in one arm and his bride in the other. And when he gave his speech, he didn't talk about profits or growth or global domination. He said simply, "She showed up when no one else did. And she changed my life." Maria smiled through tears. Because that was all she had ever wanted, not wealth, not power, just to matter to someone. And now, she did. She had a daughter again. A partner. A purpose. And Raymond? he didn't just find a nanny. He found his home.